You're alone at a bus stop. It's nighttime, and all you want to do is get home. The day was long, and you're looking forward to laying your head down on your pillow for a restful night's sleep. A car approaches, and suddenly the darkness of the night is about to get much darker. You're lured over by an unsuspecting individual, and soon find yourself in the worst moment of your life. A struggle will ensue, and you feel the roughness of rope around your neck. A tight and burning sensation comes about as this monster is trying to control you with this rope. You don't want to go where he is leading you, but you have little choice. You feel the cold grass on your body as this beast has led you to a nearby field. Your mind is racing as this individual has just aggressively forced himself on you in an unwanted assault. You don't know it, but you're the first victim of a man who is about to rain down 14 years of terror on this island you call home. Between 1957 and 1971, the Isle of Jersey, which is an island located between England and France, was terrorized by an unknown man. They nicknamed this person the Beast of Jersey. For the first couple of years, the Beast would continue his ritual of preying on women near the bus stop. Evidently, he found this as the easiest way to carry out his sick fantasies. His routine would be as it was with the first victim: lure, rope, field, assault. In 1959, the Beast became more brazen and started breaking into homes. He would first stalk his victims and learn their routines. Then when they were most vulnerable, he would carry out his actions. Throughout the 1960s, he would brutally assault and force himself on multiple women and even children. As the years went on, children were increasingly his target victims. Nothing was off limits for this sick individual. He eventually started wearing a homemade rubber mask while carrying out his attacks. The mask imitated melted skin. On top of the mask, he wore a woman's wig with messy black hair. This mask was a thing of nightmares. It's unimaginable to think of the terror one would experience while having this thing unexpectedly come out of nowhere, stare you down, lure you to a place you don't want to go, and do terrible things that will change your life as you know it, all in the darkness of the night. The Beast of Jersey would carry out his attacks between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. Victims described him as being around 5'6" in height with an extremely musty smell. He would also fake an Irish accent, making sure not to reveal his own voice. However, most of the victims could tell that it didn't sound authentic. In addition to the creepy mask, the individual would wear wristbands with nails fashioned into them, and a heavy overcoat with nails put in around the lapels. The vision was extremely disturbing. The Beast wore this outfit to not only scare his victims, but to deter them from fighting back. The nails would puncture and cause great pain to the body if the victim tried to grab a hold of him and resist. After a long run of attacks, the island town lived in constant fear. Not knowing if you or your children will be the unfortunate one to end up facing this beast was a nightmare. Eventually, police began jumping into high gear, questioning and fingerprinting all male residents who had a criminal record. 13 of these residents refused to be fingerprinted, which narrowed down the list of suspects. At this time, the local newspaper put out an article with general descriptions of the suspect. Unfortunately, eyes turned to a man named Alphonse. Locals described him as eccentric and became increasingly more hateful toward him. At one point, vigilantes took it upon themselves to burn down his house, forcing him to leave the island. The locals targeted the wrong man. Shortly after, the attacks began again, and 3 more children were viciously assaulted. As the years went on, this monster would go silent for long periods of time, and then unexpectedly would spring up again and victimize children in the night. Both boys and girls were at the receiving end of this beast's disturbing actions. In 1966, this mystery man toyed with police by writing them a letter, essentially taunting them. His confidence was high and his arrogance was overwhelming. More crimes were carried out after this, and more children were victimized. Finally, in 1971, officers noticed a car driving erratically and running a red light. They followed after the vehicle as it plowed through the streets, eventually pulling over the driver. The driver's name was Edward Paisnel. a man in his mid-40s, around 5 foot 6 inches tall. Edward Paisnel was a family man who worked a modest job in construction. He was married to a woman named Joan and helped out with her foster home for children. He even played Santa Claus on occasion at his wife's request. Edward had a clean record, except for one account. During World War II, he was jailed once for stealing food to feed hungry families, something that was hardly seen as a major criminal offense. As police searched the car, however, what they found didn't line up with the life of a friendly family man. Upon investigation, they found a messy black wig, tape, cords, and an extremely odd-looking mask. Edward was also wearing a raincoat with nails fashioned around the cuffs and shoulders, something oddly familiar with the descriptions given about the Beast of Jersey. When questioned about these findings, Edward tried to justify the items by saying he was on his way to an orgy. Police didn't fall for the story, though, and quickly took him into custody. Soon after, Paisnel's home was searched, and in a hidden, musty-smelling room, authorities found multiple costumes, books on the occult and black magic, a homemade black altar, a creepy sword, and pictures of local properties. This was his ritual room, where he would prepare for his crimes and hide his belongings. In late 1971, the Beast of Jersey, in a quick trial, was convicted and sentenced to 30 years in prison. Unbelievably, he was released in 1991, 10 years before his full 30 years was up. He tried to return home, but was quickly run off. He moved to the Isle of Wight, where he died of a heart attack in 1994. Edward Paisnel, more appropriately called the Beast of Jersey, is a clear example that sometimes you don't know people quite as well as you think you do.